Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for all being here this morning. And it's a great privilege and honor to be sharing this stage with very senior professionals and leaders from Dell, Philips, and Zensar. We started our transformative programs journey in 2020. These are some of our customers who chose us as their learning partner for their digital transformation journeys. They reimagined their futures with us. Fast forward 2023, we are thriving together with learning transformation and impact, with a lot of rewards, recognitions, and accolades, with the most recent one being the most acclaimed Brandon Hall Excellence Awards, considered the most prestigious in the learning industry. If we have gone this far, and if we have been able to reach this further, I would say this, that it's because we are really standing on the shoulders of these giants. So please give a big round of applause for these customers who have helped us go this far and having enabled us to see further in our journey. So this panel is going to be focusing on what it has taken us to come here to lead to this stage of excellence. While we do all of this, there are still challenges that are emerging, evolving every day. And what more could we do to increase the success rate of this transformation? So thank you, Agusty, Dimple, Vikram, and Rohan for being here. With that, I'm going to quickly go to the first question to all of you, in fact, to say that, to ask you, we have won all of these awards, right? From product management to architect competence development, the analytics, and tech leadership programs, and all of this in the context of transformative learning in particular, that goes a lot beyond just skill acquisition and knowledge acquisition. A lot of it focused on perspective transformation, and it has not really been that easy, right? So what is it that you think that was done differently or unique that led us to where we are today? Rohan, you want to go first because you're sitting right next to me.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. As part of this initiative, I think there were a lot of things that we did differently, but there are key call-outs that I want to make today. The first one is the focus on the outcomes. So I think business outcomes is something that we had very clearly defined right up front. And everybody, right from business to the learning teams, which were internal to us, to our learning partners, right down to the cohort, all 30 members in the cohort, everybody was aware about what the outcome is. And that kind of helped us to pull all strings in the same direction and move towards our goal post. So that, I think, was one of the biggest differentiators. The second, if I may, was more about the pre-work. And I think that's a lot of credit to StackRoute, because they spent a lot of time upfront, invested a lot of time in talking to all the participants, getting their views in terms of setting up the curriculum. And I think that kind of helped, because it gave the feeling of being participative, and everybody had the skin in the game. So that was the second. And the third most important one was the whole delivery, right? From ideation to the POC, as we call it, right? The whole thing was done completely differently. We never used any PPTs. I think the whole content which the StackRoute team developed was developed using murals. We never used PPTs. The whole delivery was completely collaborative. It was more role-play driven, more case study driven. And towards the end, even the presentations were not presentations, they were posters. So the participants came back with posters, and I think it was all non-conventional. So I think those are the three key call-outs that I would subscribe to.
Thanks, Rohan. Vikram.
Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Priya. Morning, everybody. I think it's a pleasure being here. Last 2 days was fantastic, good agenda. Finally, the third day we are here. Coming to the point, I think first thing is the curriculum by itself, right? Deep down, two different aspects of it. We split it in engineering and services. I think curriculum plays a huge role. I think that's what we stand out, right? Second one is around the leadership involvement. From the beginning till the end of the program, the entire leadership is involved in our program. So every program that we run in Dell has got exec sponsor, right? One of our exec sponsors is here right now, Murli. But I think there's a great support. I think that's the cultural aspect which I feel any organization should have a buy-in from the management and leadership. So yesterday, I think a lot of friends of us spoke where L&D and business and strategy, I think they all have to come together, right? I think that's the main part. The third one is around the objective, like Rohan mentioned. We were clear with our objective. We wanted a specific level of people to be at a specific level. That's a technical leadership. So it's a merge of technical skills as well as leadership. I think that's the main aspect of what we focused on. I think that's where NIIT StackRoute really helped us, right? And the outcome, I mean, impact, I would say, at the end of the 12-month program, we felt that participants were taking up the ownership. I think they level up. I think that's the main thing which I feel for Dell.
Thanks, Vikram. No, I completely agree with you. And these are all the learners that we are talking about with about 15 years of experience and 20 years of experience. Looking at transformative learning. And in fact, with Vikram, it was always the design would take about 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and then we would not touch it. And then with Rohan, every morning we would change it. So it was, and in fact, that is what we call as double loop learning, right? And this is a very well established theory in learning, right? I mean, it's, you design something and there is a solution. But then in Zensar, because they were moving from the services mindset to building a product competency completely, it was, you design something, you solution it. By the time you go and, go live, there is already changes happened in the business. So this is double loop learning and the triple loop learning that we did. It was really interesting. Thanks, Rohan and Vikram. Dimple, over to you.
Thank you, Priya, and I agree and second Vikram's thought. It's been a great last 2 days being here. Excellent insight. Enjoyed being in Goa again. And yeah, to your question, we did 2 programs and we partnered for it. It has been an excellent experience. Too much of back and forth, similar to what you say as a double loop learning. So what we did differently, the most important thing was to set an expectation that these would not be lecture mode sessions, but more of immersive learning with a lot of role plays and AI, appreciative inquiry that would be involved while the programs are done. Now, to call out very specifically the 3 things, first most important thing as a prerequisite was that all participants would come up with a live business case in the program that they will work on. And it was an automation journey that they will look into and be a pipeline of the automation that we are looking at. The second thing was implementing that. It's not just identifying, but implementing the automation that would lead to enhanced productivity and dollar savings. And the third most important thing would, as an exit criteria for the program was to ensure these are presented to the management of Philips, where they talk about the benefits of automation, the cost analysis, and the risk analysis. So overall, this led us to excellent business impact, which would also look at reducing errors, increasing enhanced productivity, the TAT, in fact, right, because the business is quite dynamic here at GBS, so the TAT has to be there, standardized process, streamlining the process. So the time taken to do a particular task, can you really quantify it, reduce it? So these were some of the things that we, very clearly, identified, mapped the learning to the outcomes and communicated. So that was, I think, was a standout for us. Yeah.
Thank you, Dimple. And I think Philips GBS itself is not as old as an entity as the R&D in Bangalore. So there are a lot of challenges there as well, right? Yeah. Thanks. Agusty.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Good morning, everyone. So in our case, being the R&D sector of Philips, so it's more of the mindset, right? Because everyone is acing in their own technical skills. But when you have to really pull them for learning and even you tell, okay, this is the outcome business is actually looking into, it becomes a different scenario altogether. So the main concept, what we did is calling the business, bringing in their inputs and asking them what is their business outcome they want. So it was more on converting the rituals into behaviors. So more on the technical skills, but then how do you really bring in the behavior so they themselves stand out as leaders. And then the hierarchy of leadership also continues in the organization. And the second part was bringing in the case study from the learning per se as well as from the business. So what is the main problem, what they are actually facing within the business, bring it as a case study, individually start working on it during the program, and the outcome is something what we map it to the exit criteria. And the exit criteria was more on the business outcome, on how, what is the no and the how and the what. And they have to really tail it up to the implementation phase till the program is ended. So that is how we really saw the difference and the impact. What we saw from the businesses, the technical people, that is the employees who have these technical roles or the agile roles, right? They started seeing it, how do they really give that strategic impact? They started, the thought process started changing from rituals to behaviors, as I said before, which slowly started creating the loop of the impact for the business. So that is one major change what we did in these transformational programs. Yeah.
Thank you, Agusty. I completely agree with what you say. The mindset change is the toughest,
Yes.
and especially in the context of transformative learning, we always look for 3 critical elements of change. Psychological, convictional, behavioral. A change in the understanding, a change in the behavior, a change in the action. Now, unless the dynamics of the workplace or the dynamics of the intervention mirrors the conflictual dynamics of the workplace, we will not be able to see, track, measure, monitor any of these changes. And I think that is very important to tie all of these things back together to the business results, right? The 4 tenets of the measurable journey that we call the intent, the knowledge, the impact and the performance. All of these things have to tie back to business results to really say, yeah, we have transformed somebody, right? We have transformed this cohort and here is a business impact. And I think thanks to all these leaders and the great support, like Vikram said, without the leadership commitment, this would not have been possible. But having said this is not all. There are newer challenges every day, right? I mean, we were speaking about how much are we doing for these things to happen? Because you have to really establish a pre-transformation mindset before we get people to what we call as transformative learning. Are we doing enough? What are the challenges that organizations face today, right? It's going to be a quick round. So can I get Rohan to, again, start?
Yeah, so I think clearly there is a lot of contextual learning that is absent these days, right? We spoke about KYC yesterday, know your customer. Can we have something like a KYE, know your employee? Because once you know your employee, then you can design learning programs which are very contextual to that employee. Today, I have a whole menu of the programs that I need to look at and then choose something for myself. Instead, if I get something as a nudge saying that, hey, this is your contextual learning program, I think there will be much more acceptance in terms of moving forward. So I think that's one key call out on the challenges. I think the other one is, especially in the talent acquisition cycle, right? When you have a person who has been offered, and this is more true for laterals than freshers, the period from the time the person has been given an offer and the person joining in, whatever 2 months, 3 months of the notice period that the person is serving in the other organization, is the most vulnerable period. The candidate needs a lot of assurance. Candidate needs to know because he's spent 5, 10, 15 years somewhere else and he's joining in. So that kind of an assurance is something which is necessary. If there could be some interventions that can help provide that sense of security and comfort, I think that is another area where we see there's a lot of backouts also at times that happen. And third is mindset. I think you already spoke about it. There are different mindsets that people bring in. Freshers come with a different mindset. They come with a clean slate. They are all for learning, right? And you give things, they will absorb. But when it comes to laterals, I think they come with know-it-all sort of an attitude. So it's a little bit of a change in the mindset that needs to be driven to be able to absorb these perspectives.
So, Rohan, to continue your challenges, even every organization faces the similar challenges, right? But in Philips, from last 2 years, they've been working on a model where a lateral or a fresher is offered. They've agreed to join, and during 1 month before they join, the employees start connecting with the new joiner from the manager. So first the manager goes through a pre-onboarding checklist. Because it is a checklist, why? Otherwise, the manager doesn't drive it fully, right? So for a manager, it becomes a KRA to onboard the employee, sustain till they go to the sustain model. They are there for them. So for a manager, it is KRA, and then what happens is there is a buddy who is being put as a technical support for the new joiner. As they come in, they are really made comfortable first. So with the organization values, the culture, and then the technical forum on what functional knowledge they have to acquire still. And after all this, what happens is the manager is there as a coach. So it goes on for like 180 days, where every 30 days, the new joiner is being sent a survey to see where they are, even if it is a lateral hire, where they need help. So this is being followed as a KRA at a HR checklist. However, on the employees front, right, it becomes very easy to engage them and also sustain them on a longer run in an organization, because being in the R&D industry, it is like very easy for them to skip roles, right? And they come, they just see, take some challenges and they move on. But to really retain, the manager and the leadership team plays a key role, and which has been a successful model, which I just thought, as you were talking about the challenge, I can just give a little light on how it can be still mitigated. There is still challenges, but then yeah, somewhere we need to impact as we continue developing that whole journey. Yeah.
We have already got the ROI of this panel. He had a problem and you have a solution. Great. Thanks. But this is not enough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in the sense that what are the, I mean, there are challenges, we continue to find solutions. But what is it in your mind, Vikram, moving to you, right? What is it in your mind that if we have to take care of these things, the important tenets of transformative learning, we will get it, or we will be able to increase the success of this, the success rate of this transformation even further?
So to me, I think we do that really good in Dell, right? It's a culture and it's the mindset. So, and it starts from the top, okay? So what we call the one that we're talking about right now is high potential development program. The message comes from the top. So we don't work like, say, if starting tomorrow, we work like 1 month back. It is, it kind of ingrained in the entire system. So we work with the top leadership, then the site leadership, and then each of the site leaders then comes down, right? Everybody is involved. The message goes, the entire pack, it's like a messaging that goes 3 months ahead of time before the launch, right? And then there's a specific, one thing interesting part which I want to call out is, which I didn't see in any of our conversations, is around the cost and budget, right? I don't know, might be, but budget is a very important aspect, because a lot of people feel L&D is just a cost. But I think we feel you're investing in people, the outcome, whether they stay with us or not, it is immaterial. But I think you're putting in a lot of time. Our program runs anywhere between 8 months to 12 months, right? So the leadership is involved. The participants who work with us through the program, they are aware of the entire scheme of things, how important it is for each one of them to be part of that. Having said that, the entry criteria is very, 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 let's say, very strict in terms of how they come through it, but we make them aware that it is for their development. One aspect is self-reflection, right? Today, there's a specific training, you do it and you get the skill. But these courses that we do, it improves your self-reflection, a lot of stuff on your self-development, right? But at the end of the course, you are far more better individual, right? You're more conscious to do a lot of stuff. So I think that's the journey that we've seen in Dell. I think phenomenal.
That's also a large part of what Ashish Vidyarthi spoke yesterday, right?
Yes,
Focus on
yes.
yourself and not limit the knowledge and skill acquisition, but to focus a lot on self-questioning, critical reflection and everything. Yeah. Dimple, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I definitely want to stress upon two very important aspects, especially listening to the challenges that both Rohan as well as Vikram were talking about, and seconding or continuing with what Agusty has mentioned. What we do very uniquely at Philips is taking care of two very important softer aspects. One is psychological safety. In terms of a L&D department, not as an organization as a whole, the psychological safety plays a very important role. Are the participants very safe to come back and tell us what worked, what didn't work? Do we create that environment for them to do it? So when that is there, I think the participation is much better, right? And all of us do struggle with these kind of challenges in terms of how to bring the participant, the push effect and all of that, right? So safety to challenge, safety to give the feedback, and for us to be open enough to actually take that feedback and, make those changes as an ongoing basis. I don't have to wait for the end of the year, look at the entire L1 feedback and then see what worked, didn't work, and then put that implementation next year. I mean, we don't take that approach. And the second one is, I think, is a strong governance. Governance plays a very important role. The frequent check-ins, right? And this check-in need not be only from an L&D team. It could be a check-in from the leaders. And like every of my colleague here is saying that top-down approach definitely helps here. That even gives an impression to the participant that these programs are important and not tick in the box activity, because they are impactful. It impacts and are aligned to the strategic goals of the organization. So I think these two play a very important role.
I cannot agree more, right? I mean, culture, one of the biggest driver of organizational impact is culture. Only when the culture of learning is elevated, we really can stand shoulder to shoulder to, with culture of innovation, culture of performance, or even culture of leadership, right? Yeah. So brilliant. Thanks to all of you for giving all of these insights and best practices and everything. So
can I add one last point?
Sure.
I think the point that just came to my mind is shared responsibility, right? Yeah. Somebody sponsors, somebody is attending the training. That's not the end of it. I think everybody has to be like sharing the
shared
burden.
Responsibility. Yeah. And that comes with the vision, the clarity, and then the shared responsibility. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Okay. So now. The three of them here are not only, our customers, but they also happen to be my good friends. So I'm going to take a little liberty. And I've picked a few fun memes and, of course, some quotes. I'm going to flash them, and I want to see, because it's just been too serious now. So I want to lighten up a little bit of the... Okay. Who wants to take this? Take your time, read it, but I want to take it. You want to read it out?
Yeah. So personalized learning, make sure all the learners take the assessment on the same day.
Yeah.
So how do we feel as employees, right? We are all employees in our own organizations. So we do have these mandatory trainings which pops up with the assessment. So, but then what is the takeaway from it? We just learn it because we need to complete the assessment. But then on the other side, in the transformational journey programs, how do we make learning personalized to an individual is something we were trying in the couple of years, right? In the 3 programs, what we have done before, for either a technical role or for a leadership role or for a scrum master role who plays the role more on the PMO side, right? How do we really make the learning personalized for them? So few things what we really observed is, once we have all the platforms, licenses available to anyone and everyone, it doesn't really mean they are taking the full impact of it. We all have the privilege of licenses, we have everything available, but we don't personalize it, right? Or rather you depend on the HR system where it says, okay, first 3 months you set your goal, you put in your individual development plan, and then you go on for the whole year. So it really doesn't create that personalized impact when you compare it to a learning what you do. So what we did in a couple of programs is bring in the case study, personalize it for what you feel it's the problem. Go back to the business and just check if that is the agreement for the business as well. And once you bring in your own case study, your own problem to the learning journey, we can easily make an impact and make it even more personalized. And the person really feels, yes, they have broken some silos for themselves, they have learned so many things, and they are creating impact by themselves. So that I feel like it's more on a personalized learning rather than, yes, go do the tick mark exercise and you're telling your journey is complete. And to be frank, we had programs where we couldn't finish it on time, what we put it as a structure. We really gave the time to those learners because they are in those transformation roles to complete their case study, complete their project, and then come back and tell you have completed, and then they will come give give the completion certificate as a valedictory. So that really became even more personalized for their own behaviors as a leader. So that is
But
something.
then these challenges do exist
Yes,
because there is
very
a structure,
much.
there is a performance appraisal season,
Yes.
there is, as Vikram said, there is a budget. We need to finish the budgets, move on to the next one, but then yet
Yes.
we still need customization, we still need
we still
personalization,
need.
and
Otherwise, there is no impact what is being
right,
created.
right. And
Yeah.
we still have to overcome a lot of these
Yes,
things.
a lot of
working
things. So it's not easy, right? When you have a batch of 40
Yeah.
or 50 in a program, personalizing the learning is not so easy.
Yeah.
There are challenges.
Thanks, Agusty. Next one is ready. Whoever wants to pick up. You want to pick it up again?
No, I'll pass it.
Who wants to pick it up?
I can probably go and pick this up. Okay, so our training program was successful. This is familiar. 20 employees used their new skills to leave the company for better jobs. I think this is a common problem. But if you have to, if I were to look at it a little differently, I think there is a concept of 2 E's that I always keep telling. It's the engagement and enablement. And I think these two need to be complementing each other, right? So you cannot really be enabling employees without really engaging them, and the other way around, right? So you enable someone through training programs and you don't give them the platform to perform. You don't engage them with the right customers. You don't really give them that space to deliver what they have learned. It's a sure shot recipe for them leaving your organization and joining somewhere else. So likewise, there are a lot of times that we have lateral employees, experienced ones, who have been doing their jobs forever and ever. And they are engaged, but they also need to be enabled from time to time. So again, if you don't enable them, they will leave. So it's not just about the freshers, but it's equally true for people who are experienced and within the organizations. These two things will have to go hand in hand if we have to avoid this risk.
Enablement and then engagement followed by. Very, very good point, Rohan. Thank you. You read it?
Yeah.
You sure you want
This
to
is
take it?
this is a good one, right? Can you teach Snoopy to play guitar? I have taught Snoopy and he can play the guitar now. And then Snoopy, can you compose a symphony? Right? So there's a break in between, right?
I mean, there are clients, right? I mean, I hear, Sachin and Ravi, from my team, from the bootcamp, they go through this all the time, right? We need a 6-week program. Cover this, right? From Python to all the way to, name all the technologies. And they say, what is the outcome that you want? Oh, we want them to become passionate programmers. 6 weeks, right? Yeah.
Right. Very straightforward. I'll keep it very simple, right? I mean, this doesn't exist only here, I think across. You name it in any industry, any business vertical, you have this problem, right? I think clear objectives and goals is very, very important at the beginning. And you stick to it. And the output, right? What you set in the beginning, I think that expectation, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, or 24 months, I think the output should be the same unless there's a big change, right? I think there must be business alignment. That's what I said. Business and every single unit which is working together should come together, stick to the plan. The moment you break the plan, I think everything is going to go over the roof. I think that's my simple answer for this.
No, true. Completely agree. So, Dimple, you're the one who has not taken. So,
Yeah.
and
Do I have
anything
a
has
choice?
to, no, anything has to complete with a moral of the story. So, why don't you, this to me is the
Okay.
moral of the story. So,
Yeah, I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach for my destination. Interesting one, and I'll try my best here, okay? And I'm sure many of you in the audience are able to relate to this. And picking up on what Yogesh also shared yesterday on Bani, I think the situation is similar to that. I have experienced this during the COVID time, right? So our usual plan is annual LNA, plan your Excel sheet, go ahead, deliver the program. But I don't think that works anymore. The learning needs are dynamic. It keeps changing because business is dynamic. So it's like this, I'm prepared for everything and then I should be able to plug out certain elements of the entire design and then still deliver, which is reaching my destination. But 2 points that comes to my mind is creating value end of the day, no matter what. We as L&D, we are not here to stand aside and say, here is the menu list, go ahead, which one you want to pick up and, attend the program. But I think we should look and partner equally with business, which many have been talking about yesterday in different forums. So how can I be a partner to the business? Because everybody wants to create value, and so is GPS. GPS is a very dynamic organization, and then we add value, we create value in that. So if I am not able to do that, help my business do that I'm not required, right? So how do I create that value? And for that, I need to be proactive. How can I be proactive? Understand business, understand the roles and the skill sets in it, and what are the challenges that they face. And basis that, if I'm able to really suggest them in advance or proactively, we like that word. So this, I think, would be helpful, because business folks are busy with their operational duties and responsibilities. So as enablers, I would say, and we have a long way to go there. We probably just stepping into that zone now. So can I say, like how Netflix does, right? I watch one series and they pop up another 2 series. You would like to watch the next series, basis your past history. If L&D can actually do that, I think we are there. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Dimple. Any questions from the audience? You have any more fun memes, quotes, or you want to trouble them, please feel free to trouble my guests. Any other questions? Thank you. So I really have to thank all of them. As I said, we really are standing on the shoulders of these giants because of which we have been able to travel this far in such a short time. And as I said, transformative learning has not been easy. We have to look at elements of culture, leadership connects, the involvement, and of course we always have a lot more problem on budgets when we go up the ladder, right? So with a lot of this, but it has just been a phenomenal journey with all of these clients, phenomenal journey at StackRoute, and we continue to do more. And I always believe in one thing, the reward for good work is always the opportunity to do more. So with that, I always think that we are going to get more and more opportunities to make more meaningful contributions to organizations in their talent management space to help them prepare for the next challenge. And thank you to all our customers, thank you to all our stakeholders, the entire ecosystem that supports us for making this proud moment of Brandon Hall Awards possible and to be on this stage today. Thank you all for being here. Thanks a ton. Thank you.